All right, let's go. I smell cat pee. What are you doing? I thought I smelled cat pee. All right, here we go.
The following information may make you feel smarter, but will not actually increase your IQ.
I got him!
So don't get cocky.
This is about what's going to happen.
Welcome to
DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, are we selling California to the highest bidder? And who was permanently banned from any NFL events during the Super Bowl? And why married women are going to have a hard time flying? And get ready for the new soda wars. All this and much more we'll discuss here on DeaconLive for the next 60 minutes or so. We'll get you up to date on social news and stories and viral videos you might have missed, or we'll be talking about it here in the upcoming days. How are you? How are things? Are you doing all right? Are you getting along with everyone? That's all we care about. We want to make sure you're getting along and having a good time with each other in a very peaceful manner. Now, what's on everyone's mind at the top of the hour? Well, I'll tell you, it's donuts. Speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, and all their stuff is being recalled. Everything that Dunkin' Donuts makes, from curlers to bear claws to the Boston cream to whatever, is all being recalled. Now, the coffee and everything's just fine. One of the best coffees in the world. But their pastries, and not Dunkin' Donuts not the only one that's being hit by this big recall. About 2 million baked goods sold nationwide, including some donuts and coffee rolls purchased from at Dunkin' Donuts, were recalled last month due to concerns of products that might be containing listeria, according to the USD the Food and Drug Administration. Manufacturers FGF brands issued a recall involving products before December 13th, 2024. So they've known about this for a while, and the FDA says they are enforcing this. The enforcement of the report published on Wednesday. The recall went into effect on January 7, 2025, but the FDA did not release a actual press release on this. The recall products, you would think they would. Hey, by the way, we're the Federal Food and Drug Administration. We're going to recall some stuff and not tell anyone. Meanwhile, I'm going out there and enjoying like my Boston cream or my jelly donut, and I'm like, I don't feel so well. Why is shit coming out of my ass all the time? This donut's good. The recall products include a range from chocolate, raspberry, Bavarian cream donuts, French curlers, eclairs, and coffee rolls. Dunkin's response to the requests for comment, citing statements by the FGF brands in it, the company says they want to clarify the coverage is its recalls to ensure customers have not been misled or confused. Now, for more on the story, I'm going to go to what news report are we going to? CBS Mornings. And don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube as well. You can search DeaconLive Podcast, and you can see the full-length podcast over there. And if there's any videos or pictures or anything that we talk about, you can see it in real time as we're talking about it here on the air. So we're going to go right now to camera 4, and we're going to find out what CBS Morning has to say about this recall, the massive baked goods recalled over possible listeria contamination. And I have to take the mute off. And it's going to do an ad. Watch it do an ad. Watch it do an ad right now. Yep, there's an ad. Called it.
Make sure you get the support you need.
Skip ad. Here we go. Skip ad.
Visit.
There we go. Now I'll play.
Potentially contaminated with listeria. Kelly O'Grady is here to show us what to look out for. Kelly, good morning.
Morning, Kelly.
Good morning to you all. Okay, so the recall involves more than 2 million baked goods. That includes donuts, apple fritters, French curlers, and coffee rolls supplied by the company FGF brands. Now, they were sold in a variety of stores across the country under different brand names, including Dunkin' Donuts. Now, according to the Food and Drug Administration, FGF initiated the voluntary recall on January 7th. The company says its actions are precautionary based off what it calls non-product related findings at one of its donut facilities in the U.S. FGF also says its baked goods are currently safe to eat, adding that no donut products ever tested positive for the bacteria.
No.
No infections have been reported. Remember, listeria is the third leading cause of death related to foodborne illness in the U.S., according to the CDC. It can cause fever, flu-like symptoms, loss of balance, even seizures, and it can be especially harmful for pregnant women, newborns, adults 65 and older, and people with weakened immune systems.
So, and we're talking about donuts here. So what should people do, consumers do to protect themselves if they're worried about all this?
Don't eat the donuts.
Tricky because some of these items are sold in a variety of stores under different brand names. You have to be vigilant. But check the FDA website if you think that you've eaten or bought something that's on that list. Next time you go to the store or Dunkin' Donuts, ask the employee, did they stock that item in the store? Have they gotten rid of it? Inquire about a refund. And if you think you've got it in your home, get rid of it, contaminate the area, and then you should be okay, Tony.
All right.
Thank you, Leslie or Kelly. Sorry, but think about that. If you want to talk about conspiracy, and I'm not a big conspiracy fan, I like to think about it. But if you want to make America thin, you want to get us Americans off our fat asses, say all the bad stuff that we eat is bad because it's got listeria in it. You tell the American people, hey, don't eat it because it's refined sugars. I'm still going to eat it. Don't eat it because, it's this and that and, all the other, it's got gluten and all this other. No, I'm still going to eat it. You say it has AIDS in it, you watch those pounds just melt off you because you're not eating that bad food anymore. So they come out and say, hey, all these pastries, we'll start there. We'll start with the pastries and then we'll work our way up to your favorite hamburger that you buy at the fast food restaurant. And then we'll go from there. They put, what did they put? Is it listeria? What's the one salmonella on lettuce? People are like, fuck that. I'm not eating lettuce. I'm eating a donut. So, don't put it on the healthy stuff. Put it on the bad stuff. And that way, watch us Americans get thinner. All right, guys, we got lots to talk about. A big show to get into. And what are they actually paying those two people that are still trapped in space? They went up for an 8-day cruise, and they're still stuck up there 9 months later, somewhere around that. And they're now expected to come home this March. But how do you get paid? Do you get overtime? Well, I'll tell you exactly what they're getting paid, and you tell me if you agree with it. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We'd love to hear from you, and the way you can do that and be part of the show, you can be podcast famous. Go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET radio.com. At the top of the page, there's a little orange bar up there. It says, be heard. Leave a message for Deacon Live. Comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast. We broadcast every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. A little town we like to call Marshville. We sit on about 22 some odd acres here. We have horses, chickens, cats, neighbors' cats, goats, dogs, random dogs, and all that stuff. But yeah, leave a message if you want to talk about anything that we've talked about here during the show at any time. Get those messages in. We'll play you right here. You can be anonymous if you want. And you can also listen back to the 10 years of podcasts that we have over, or all the podcasts are over 10 years ago. And if you go back a little bit and you want to talk about something, by all means, I'll talk about it. You just have to let me know exactly what podcast you were talking about, and I'll go back there and listen to it, and I'll be like, well, dumbass, or, well, Mr. Person, I meant this. So you can do that as well, and you can be podcast famous right here in the studio with us. Now, someone who's famous right now is this gentleman right here, one of the performers at the Super Bowl halftime performance with Kendrick Lamar is banned for life. Now, you're like, well, what did he do? A performer at the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show was detained after he unfurled a combined Palestine and Sudanese flag during the performance. The NFL confirmed Monday morning on USA Today that the person was part of a 400-member field cast and had a flag hidden under his belt during the halftime show. And that began on Sunday night, not Saturday night, Sunday night. No one involved with the production was aware of this individual's intent, the league said in a statement. The individual was banned for life from all NFL stadiums and events. Now, the protester has not been identified, was seen displaying the flag after Lamar performances his chart-topping diss track. I should work for a hip-hop station. Now performing his chart-topping diss track, Not Like Us, here's Kendrick Lamar. Pretty good, right? Images and videos show that the Sudan, Gaza were written on the white sections of the flag, along with a heart and a solidarity fist. The protester with Palestine's Sudanese flag was the halftime show performer. The individual was wearing black mesh matching those on stage. Those could be seen amongst the dozens of red, white, blue dancers and black dancers. When they say black, they were dressed in black as well, not physical skin tone black. The now infamous moment occurred after Lamar's performance of Not Like Us as the rapper launched into his final song, TV Off. Now, they captured him, grabbed him, and, it's one of those things where the cameras don't want to. Here, let me switch the camera forward so you can see him. There he is right there. He's caught, and he had this flag up right here. Now, the cameras, of course, cut away, get off of that. Don't show that guy out there with a Sudan Gaza flag on him. And so they did. But then, it comes out on TikTok, and this guy was out there running around. They didn't want to give him any more airtime than they possibly could. So they told him, basically, you are banned from anything NFL, events, stadiums, and stuff like that. How can you, well, I don't know. I've never been to a football stadium or an NFL event. Do they have, I'm assuming they have scan face recognition type stuff. Hey, this guy's been banned. This guy's on a watch list. How many people that were in that stadium for the Super Bowl were actually allowed to be there? I know my cousin was on a do not fly list for many years. And he's like, I don't know why. He goes, I did get into an accident over in England where I had to have surgery and I had a lawyer and all that stuff. And they slapped him on a do not fly list. But this is something a little bit different. How many people in that audience was in a ban for life type deal? And they're going to ban this guy. Of course, they didn't identify him for fear of something, I don't know, repercussions and whatnot. Now, a repercussion that's happening right now is the couple, they're not like physical married couple, but the two astronauts that have been trapped in space for over months now. Their name is Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore. They have been in space since June, and here's how overtime works up there. So you're wondering how they're getting paid? They were just going to go up there for 8 days and swing around and come back. Astronauts Williams and Barry Butch Wymore, who's 61, the other one is 59, were initially launched into space from Cape Canaveral Space Force on June 5th last year for what was meant to be an 8-day mission. However, due to technical difficulties with the aircraft, Williams and Wilmore remained at the International Space Stations to this very day. While they have managed to keep themselves busy up there with jobs and even spacewalking, many have questions how the astronauts are being paid. No, I'm asking them, why aren't we bringing them back home? That's what I'm asking. I don't care about how they get paid. That's their choice. Well, as far as the Washingtonian magazine, Williams and Wilmore apparently paid like any other employee on a business trip. So essentially, their regular salary. So if you're making $70,000 a year as an astronaut, that's what you're getting paid up there. NASA supplies the food and drinks, and of course, there are no supermarkets up there. While in space, agencies provide transportation and lodging. Oh God, they're making it like they're in a hotel. They're just sitting back at the Westin 5-star hotel. Caddy Coleman, a retired NASA astronaut, told the Washingtonian there are a small amount of money per day for incidentals, and they end up being legally obligated to pay you. They reached out to NASA for a comment. Having been in space for a whopping 8 months at this point, William and Wilmore have probably forgotten what it's like to live a normal life here on Earth. Coleman knows about spending time away from our planet, telling Washingtonian that she'd often float in space by herself. It's like sitting in the shallow end of the pool. You know, when the kids are away at school, you're just sitting, just quiet. It's almost like you're in a fish aquarium. It's sort of that dark that you're gliding through this wonderful, peaceful place, she told the outlet. On Tuesday, February 11th, NASA announced that the astronauts may be back home sooner than they previously target date of late March. The space agency was able to adjust the schedule and now are using a crew. Is it a Crew 10 mission? I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce this. Crew-10 mission, as opposed to the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. The mission will now launch earlier on March 12th, though that very much depends on the mission readiness. So it'll certainly be tricky to get the astronauts back to a normal life since it feels like they haven't walked on the Earth for a long time. So, and then there's like conspiracies up there, right? They're like going, they were only up there for 8 days. They were 8 days, and then Christmas time, they're sending pictures back with Santa hats on. Well, dummy, it's like going to an Airbnb, the International Space Station. There have been people in and out of that place. You know, they've left stuff up there. You know, it's not just them two in this little capsule, and they're only in the capsule that they went up in. No, it's connected to the International Space Station. They just can't disconnect it, and I don't know the technicality of it because I'm not an astronaut by any stretch of the nature, but there's something about the thing detaching and being able to come back in space and come back safely. I think they actually released it, and they're in the International Space Station. It's an apartment, so you got like leftover stuff from the last person who was there. Of course they've got Santa hats on. I guarantee you there's probably some kind of 4th of July or whatever holiday, you know, shamrocks and all the other Easter bunny hats and all the things up there. So, yeah, you would think they would have some kind of Santa hat up there. So there's the conspiracies, throwing that out there. All right, guys, when we come back, do you have a good dentist? I have a good dentist. He costs a lot. But this dentist right here cost him his job when he was driving around doing something that dentists should not do. And I'll dive in that story when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'll give you something for free, but what you have to do to get it is go over to Prophet Radio, proud sponsors of Deacon Live and all the other fine programming that comes out of the studio. If you look behind me, watching us here on the YouTube video, you can see all the other fine programming behind me. It's back there. Let me see what camera I'm on. All those back there come out of this studio, and you can check them out as well. And while you're over at the Prophet Radio, there's a little section that says free swag. Got a little drop-down menu. Pick out what you want, and they'll send it to you right away if you're in the continental United States. If you're overseas, well, that China ban as far as bringing mail in and out, I don't know if that's still going on, so it might be a little bit longer if you're overseas and stuff. If you want us to send you something, it might take a little bit more time to get there. Now, speaking of a little bit more time to get there, this woman right here, this driver, was paid $13 million from New Jersey after state troopers mistakenly believed that her stroke was a sign of intoxication. So let's dive in this story and figure out how I can get $13 million. A New Jersey driver was awarded nearly $13 million after she was arrested by state troopers who mistakenly believed that she was intoxicated when she was actually suffering from a stroke, which delayed the medical care she urgently needed by several hours. Cheryl Lynn Rhimes, now 57, had a stroke on October 17, 2017, when she pulled her vehicle over on Route 73 as she was driving from her home in New Jersey City to her job in Florham Park. According to the lawsuit against the New Jersey State Police Department, the trooper said they found her about 30 minutes later with vomit on her face, and she was only able to answer questions with a yes or no. Rhines was experiencing facial drooping, symptoms of a stroke, and was unable to control her body or motor functions, but the trooper claimed that she was just playing games, in quotes, and made the arrest. According to the lawsuit, she also experienced drooping eyelid and having trouble holding herself up. The lawsuit described the trooper's conduct as so outrageous in character and so extreme in degree as to go beyond all possible bounds of decency, as is regarded to intolerabilization, which is hard for me to say, in the civil community. According to this report, an ordinary human being observing. Let's try this again. An ordinary human being observing Cheryl Rhines would have immediately recognized it and called for emergency care. More than 2 hours passed before someone at the police department could even realize that she was having a medical emergency and called an ambulance, which transported her to the hospital. Rhines and her mother today said that the delay in treatment led to her suffering the death of significant brain functions and permanent lifelong disability, according to The Independent. She no longer can be able to work and requires continuous care. In the trial last month, the jury faulted the state police and the state argued that the police followed their training in handling Rhines' situation. Did they, though? The initial award was $19.1 million, $5 million for pain and suffering, $6 million for emotional distress, and $6.5 million for medical care, and $1.6 million for loss of income. All right, what kind of job? Well, I guess if you add it up over time, if you have a $100,000 job, a year job, and you're out for 10 years, I guess that would be the 1 point whatever million. Why can't that happen to me? Not that I want to suffer a stroke or anything. Why can't someone just mistake me for doing something and I'll be like, get your hands off my penis? That's humanity. Can I have some Turkish delights? Or whatever that one guy said. But yeah, so 17 million, of course, the lawyers and stuff are going to take half of that. But to be at that point, where she still needs medical care. Hey, I'm a perfectly good human being. All of a sudden, now I need medical care because I couldn't get to the hospital. I don't know if that's some kind of life to lead. I don't know if the 13 million would cover that, because you're still like, I was going to explore the mountains. I was going to do this, but now I can't. And now someone's got to take care of me the whole entire time. Now, this gentleman right here, Dennis, was caught huffing while driving. Another incident, but he did not have a stroke. He had more than 100 canisters of laughing gas in his car. Christopher Pedler admitted to huffing nitrous oxide all day, the police says. So let's dive into his story. A Houston area dentist is facing criminal charges after huffing nitrous oxide, quote unquote, all day, leading to the cops on a half-mile car chase, which marked his third arrest since October on identical charges, according to the court's filing. Dude, you've got a problem. Christopher Michael Pedler, DDS, a 39-year-old married father of three, who also teaches at the University of Texas School of Dentistry, was caught Saturday with 107 canisters of nitrous. What a fucking party. The complaint filed on Harris District. Hold on. Oh, excuse me. Harris District Court states Pedler was clocked at doing 44 and a 30 miles an hour zone. Okay, that's... I see 30 mile an hour zones and I go, why are we doing this? Why are we at 30 miles an hour? For the children. All right, for the children. If it's a school zone, by all means. Then he refused to stop for the police when they tried to pull him over, making multiple turns while looking back in his mirror. Two of the nitrous oxide containers were, quote unquote, extremely cold, with ice crystals formed on the exterior, suggesting recent use, according to the complaint. When he finally gave himself up, Pedler, who was then freed on bond for possession of an inhalant paraphernalia, said he had a problem and admitted he had been inhaling all day long, the complaint goes. The Harris County Constable Precinct 1 announced Pedler's arrest on social media, because that's what we do. Defense attorney David Smith, who presided over Pedler in court, told The Independent, due to the ongoing legal proceedings, we are unable to provide detailed comments on the allegations. Please afford our client the presumptions of innocence. No, you are caught red-handed. Presumption of innocence, only if you admit that you have a problem, which you did. So no innocence involved. So he is going away. Nitrous oxide, known as laughing gas, is a mild sedative used in dentistry and to manage patients' pains and anxiety. The abuse can lead to seizures, brain damage, psychosis, and paralysis. The agents involved in the driver's huffing notorious have become increasingly common as the substance gains more popularity with the young kids. I've done whippets before. Don't get me wrong. I've done it before. It lasts 30 seconds. You sit there and you take what's a whippet? It almost looks like a little CO2 canister, and they use them for chefs. Chefs put it in like a gun, and they make whipped cream. Automatic whipped cream with I'm giving everyone the details of how to make a bomb, right? And so we would go to the head store and buy whippets. And then you had this metal container about the size of like half a carrot. I don't know. It had like a needle in it, and you put a balloon on the end of it, and you crack it, and it blow the balloon up, and then you inhale, and you go for like 30 seconds, and then and then you go, wow, that was fun. Do it again. Stay in school, kids, or go to dentist school, whatever you want to do, whatever your fix is. So yeah, he got a dentist, 107 containers. What are you doing with all those? Transfer. I got to transfer over up city. They need these up there. Now, there was a commercial on the Super Bowl, and it was the one that sticks out in my mind is the girl was sitting at the drive-thru, and they go, and what kind of soda do you want? And she's sitting there going, I don't know what kind of soda. And then, they go to someone else, and it's a soda, new soda that's coming out. There's this new trend of, kombucha and gut health and all this stuff. And they're saying that Poppi right now has found itself embroiled in a soda wars among rival Olipop. Now, let's explain exactly what happened between these two. You saw the commercial on the halftime show or during the Super Bowl, and it played over and over and over again. That's not where they're getting in a hard time about. What they're getting in a hard time about is the company made a decision to send vending machines to 32 influencers, and it backfired on them. This all comes as Poppi was selling a fortune, at the Super Bowl, and Olipop appears to be reaping all the benefits for this backlash. Each one of the machines that they sent to influencers, these 32 influencers, cost $25,000. That's $800,000 that they spent giving the vending machine to these influencers. And, it's just a vending machine with all like the Poppi sodas in it. They don't keep the machines. And what are they going to do? Like every day, hey, today I'm getting my daily dose of Poppi. And they have to put $1 in, I guess. And then they make a video, and then it gets, 1 million views and 2 million views. And, $800,000, that's small to get, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of eyes on this. But what people are mad about is that, hey, why couldn't they send it to normal people? Why don't they take these machines and put them on college campuses and get reactions from that? Well, Olipop saw this trend and said, yeah, why don't you do that? Yeah, why don't you do that? And some people actually got free machines from other companies. And we're going to dive a little bit more in this story. Don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube. Search DeaconLive Podcast. Give us a subscribe over there. We don't do it for the money over there. We just do it to give you another media source for you to enjoy the podcast. So here we go. Here's a breakdown of what actually happened. I'm going to switch to camera 4, and we can all see this, and we can all be friends. Here we go.
Great soda controversy of 2025. And if you haven't followed this, God bless your soul. Now, for context, Poppi is gearing up to run a Super Bowl ad. And as all brands are doing, they want to get more juice for the squeeze. So they tapped into an influencer marketing strategy, sending 32 influencers a Poppi branded vending machine. And many people are not happy, with a lot of people coming out saying, hey, we are so over these PR boxes. Why is it just rich influencers who get stuff? They could have put these in college campuses, et cetera, et cetera. All totally fine and valid takes. But with just a quick look of some of the impact of Poppi sending these machines, here's some of the views from the videos that those creators made. 16 million views, 6 million views, 2 million views. 32 influencers got these machines, posting on TikTok and Instagram, probably putting up 75 to 100 million views here. And the people who follow those influencers are like, wow, this is amazing. But then this other community is like, no, I hate this. But now warring rival Olipop comes in, adding fuel to the fire, saying, hey, those 32 machines, each one of them cost $25,000. So $800,000 in spend there. That really sets people off even more. But let's take a step back here on that number for just a second. It is reported that these influencers do not get to keep these vending machines. Poppi is probably going to use them in a number of other capacities. But even if they did get to keep the machines, spending $800K,
he's hitting his microphone, by the way,
exposure is not that crazy. There are companies that will put many millions of dollars into a TV ad or out-of-home campaign that is absolutely trash and goes nowhere. So the fact that Poppi is getting this much reach and this much additional conversation, an absolutely great win for Poppi. But Olipop knows you never let a good controversy go to waste. So they are out here on all of the Poppi shade videos, dropping comments and becoming the hero, DMing and sending product to regular people, kind of becoming the people's champ in this controversy.
Nice.
So ultimately a win for both of them.
So there you go. Let's switch back to me now. So that's the new soda wars that are coming out there. We tried it, Poppi, and here's the thing. It says only 5 grams of sugar. Wait a minute. Didn't you say sugar was bad for us somewhere? No, it's natural sugar. Yeah, sugar itself is natural. High fructose corn syrup is bad. It's man-made. Natural sugar, all right, I guess we're allowed to have that. And here's the second thing. No matter which one you get, for a 12-ounce fucking can, it's almost $3. Oh, but it's better. It's got biotics and prebiotics and stuff for gut health. Do me a favor, but get a thing of YoPlay yogurt. Same shit. We've been doing that for years. Eating natural biotics and probiotics. They got us so fucking brainwashed. So if you want a $3 soda and with only 5 grams of sugar, enjoy yourself. Poppi or Olipop, either one. And they only have like the certain, like the basic flavors. Orange, black cherry, lemon lime, all the other stuff. When you start mixing the 23 ingredients like Dr. Pepper, then you start messing with the whole formula, and it all goes to shit. When we come back, married women are going to have a hard time flying locally, in the intercontinental United States, because of this new Real ID that's coming out. And if you're confused right now, well, I'll confuse you even more when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Don't forget to follow us on all of your social networks. And right now, I got countdown. 32 days. 32 days till I'm allowed back on Meta for the most part. And for those new listening to the show, well, what'd you do, Deacon? How'd you get in trouble? I didn't do anything. Some knucklehead moron from Russia got a hold of a third-party account that I had on Instagram, which I barely go to. I don't monitor that very much. And I guess posted a bunch of, took over my Instagram or whatever. Like I said, it was a third-party project I was working on. Somehow they figured out my password was 1234. Oh, my God, this is what I have on my luggage. And got in there and was posting a bunch of shit, and all of a sudden it shut it down, and that caused a ripple effect through all my accounts through Meta, whether it be Instagram and Facebook and all my Facebook pages and stuff. I had like 6 Facebook pages depending on what job I was working on and stuff. So I lost all the followers. I don't know if I lost them or not. Maybe they just put them on hold. But I got 32 days. Now I tell you that to tell you that we are still on TikTok. You can go over to TikTok and search B Podcast Famous. You can see all the different shows that I'm involved with. And you can also follow us on YouTube. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe over on YouTube. Just search Deacon Live Podcast. Give us a little thumbs up wherever you're at over there. Now, I was telling my wife, we're getting closer to Valentine's Day. And I was telling my wife, I said, thank God I found you. Oh, I know. Thank God I found you. Or she found me. Whatever it is. Because there was an article that I was reading about how the digital world is making dating so much harder now. I've known my wife. We've been together for 18 years. We've been married for coming up on 11 years next month. Thank you very much. And, this is well before Facebook came out. This is well before like Tinder and swipe left. And I had no idea what any of that stuff was. But in all fairness, I met my wife on Match.com. Yes, Match.com. Remember that? Are they still around? It's like one of the first ones. And we hit it off, and we had dinner and stuff, and she didn't like me, and I don't know. It was just a weird first date, and I'm like, okay, that was a thank you for dinner. And she called me up a couple days later and asked me what I was doing, and I said, I'm going to Halloween Horror Nights. I'm from Orlando, Florida, so that was a yearly thing that I would go to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. She's like, I've never been. And I said, well, let's go. I said, I like to party down. She's like, that's fine. I said, if you can keep up, then let's go. And got a taxi out there, and we had a great time, and we've been together ever since. And that's our story, and I'm sticking to it. But this couple right here, a couple went to go get married or go get their marriage license and then realized they may have accidentally already gotten married before. Adulting is hard sometimes. So a couple may have accidentally gotten married before their wedding. About a month and a half before their nuptials, Sarah Lushton and David Kussel, it's Russell with a K, Kussel, arrived at the district courthouse to obtain their marriage license, but they didn't expect to legally get married right then and there. Adulting is hard sometimes. I'm Mrs. Kussel now. And as this ad pops up, I can't see it. Where did I leave off? Oh, I guess I'm Mrs. Kussel now, she says in a TikTok video. The marriage license is required to legally tie the knot. Typically, couples obtain their licenses before the big day. The license is valid for a set period of time and must return after the wedding ceremony with signatures from the individuals getting married, 2 witnesses, and the person who performed the ceremony in order to make the marriage valid and officially and recorded. Hold on, dear. I'm going to get you. Don't worry. If there is no waiting periods, couple may choose to legally legalize their marriages and the license inside the civic building. This is the opposite of what Lushton and Kussel wanted because their wedding isn't until March 8th in Miami Beach, Florida. All right, call out to Miami. We arrived at the district. Excuse me. We arrived at the district courthouse. This is where my voice gets a little messed up here. We arrived at the district courthouse for our appointment time, and then the man helping us out made a joke, something along the lines of, "Do you want to go all the way and have the 2 anniversaries and to celebrate?" Lushton said, or tells People magazine, "We definitely said no, but we were kind of laughing as a joke and didn't think he was serious. Maybe he didn't hear us, but obviously there was some miscommunications." In the comment sections of her video, Lushton said that it was when she and her fiance were brought into the quote-unquote ceremony room where the couples routinely exchanged vows and then realized things weren't going according to plan. They brought us into the ceremony room, and it was that moment that we knew we fucked up, she commented. She explained to People magazine that after she and Cussell signed some paperwork and the man instructed them to follow her in the ceremony room, it had a wall of flowers, arch, and a podium where he was going to perform the ceremony, she recalls. So the soon-to-be bride and groom are still confused on whether they accidentally got married. We honestly are not sure, Lushton admits. In the ceremony room, we were told that this wasn't what we wanted. He had to redo all the paperwork and then issue a refund of $30 for the ceremony fee, and then charged us for what we never realized. It took another 20 to 30 minutes to do all of this. All right, so let's see what she says. I'm going to switch over to camera 4 here, and let's see what this Lushkin says about her marriage. Oh, it's just her and music. That was it. Jesus Christ, fell for that one. In the comment sections in her video, Lushton said that she and her fiance were brought into the ceremony room. She explains, it had a wall of flower arch and podium. I already said all that. Oh, because that fucking thing skipped. Although the marriage license situation was stressful, a couple of friends and families thought it was hilarious. Everyone was laughing, Lushton said. We had a few of our married friends, if the same thing happens to them, but no one had the same experience, or asked her friends and stuff. So what happened was, let's go back to me now. What happened was, it seems like they went to go get their marriage license. All right, here's your marriage license. You're a beautiful couple. You know, some guy. You want to go all the way? No, yeah, we'll go all the way, you know. Okay, come this way. Do you take it? Wait a minute, what are we doing in this room? Do you take it? Shut up. Do you take You don't talk now. And I guess they did the yes and no's, and then they were like going, wait a minute, I think we just got married. No, we don't want it until March 8th. Ah, shit. All right. Ethel! Here, I need the whiteout for this paper. I gotta redo the goddamn fucking kids. So, is that a story? It is a story for some, but you know, just be careful out there if you're trying to get married. Don't fall for the old switcheroo and have the old guy pull you in the back room. Now, if you're a married woman, travelers will soon be required to present a quote-unquote real ID compliant driver's license or any other federal approved identifications for domestic air travel. But married individuals who have changed their names may incur some problems. The difficulties in obtaining a real ID for some people comes because of documentations of name changes, like marriage certificates or court-ordered papers, is now required. So the Real ID Act, enacted in 2005, set federal security standards for state-issued identification cards such as driver's license. But beginning May 7th, only Real ID compliant identifications will be accepted for domestic air travel and access to certain federal facilities unless an alternative form of identification is provided, according to the Department of Homeland Security, which will probably go away here soon too. All travelers over the age of 18 will need a Real ID compliant driver's license or another TSA approved identification board to board domestic flights. Alternatively, without the Real ID, passengers must present a U.S. passport, a military ID, or another federal recognized form of ID. However, enhanced driver's license, the EDL, issued by Washington, Minnesota, Michigan, New York, Vermont, are considered acceptable identifications and will be accepted in place of the real ID. Okay, so if we're going to follow all the rules, let's follow all the rules. Now they're saying the enhanced driver's license between these states are good. It's just making everything difficult. Just say, if you got a driver's license, you're good to go for the most part. So to obtain a real ID, applications must provide 1, proof of identity, birth certificate or a valid passport. 2, proof of social security number, social security card or W-2 form. I'm going to bring my back taxes for the last 10 years, everywhere I go from now on. 2, proofs of residency, a utility bill with an address or a rental agreement. How about your home loan, where it has the loan on the paper? Documentation of any name changes, such as a marriage certificate or a court order. Why was the Real ID Act passed in 2005? It was passed by Congress in response to security and safety concerns following the terrorist attacks of 9/11. How do you make a real appointment ID? To apply for a real ID, individuals must visit their local Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, office in person. Many states require appointments due to high demand. Applications should check their state's DMV website for special instructions and requirement for documentation, unless you live in Washington, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Vermont, which they have their own thing. For a smoother application process, schedule the appointment in advance, gather all necessary documents, back taxes, date of birth, fingerprints, all that stuff before visiting the DMV. Ensure the name consistency across all documents to avoid delays. How could married women be impacted by this? A key challenging facing married people apply for the Real ID is proven their legal name change. Many states require a certified copy of the marriage certificates. In some cases, multiple marriages certificates if there have been multiple name changes. I'm Mary Sue, Beth, Ellen, Palmer, Johnson, Howard, Jones, because I got married 15 times. Oh, I know people like that. It's crazy. It's like an alphabet for the whole thing. It's like a law firm. Their names. These challenges are exacerbated by variance of states and rules and documents. Some states require all previous names and documents. So if you're out there, ladies, and you've had your name changed 15 times because you can't figure out what's going on, I say ladies. Guys could do it too. Because, gays can get married. The gays can get married. So they might have name changes too. So it not necessarily affects women. It also affects anyone. Affects. Pick whatever term that fits your standard. As far as gay marriages and so on and so forth. So it's not necessarily women, but the article was written from obviously one view, not really realizing that there's other views out there as well. When we come back, we're selling off California. Sure, why not? Let's do it. Speaking of, those people, let's get rid of California. Would it make the world a better place? Well, we'll lose a couple votes in that direction. Maybe we'll make them up by buying Greenland or Iceland. What are we buying? What's that country over there that we're going to buy? Anyways, so we'll figure out who's the highest bidder for California when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Don't forget all the musical artists that you hear during the breaks and stuff are independent artists, unsigned artists that are looking for your attention, striving for your attention. We show them some support by giving them airtime to be played here so you guys can listen to them. Do me a favor to show them some support as well. Make sure if there's a Spotify channel, you go out there and like them, you add them to your set playlist or anything like that. If you want to hear the full-length songs, you can find all the songs, all the music that's heard here on Deacon Live. Every single one of them are independent artists, very talented people. Go over to Prophet Radio and search music heard on Deacon Live. You can hear the full-length songs and show them some love as much as we've shown them love here as well. Now, there was something that was going on where when Trump, I forget if it's before or after he took office. I think just after he took office, he made a comment saying, we're going to buy Greenland. They're not doing anything with it over there. They're not doing much. Denmark's not doing much with it. And the resources alone over in Greenland. Now, if you're not familiar with Greenland and Iceland, let me give you a small breakdown that I learned in elementary school. the Vikings at one time, get ready for the lies, the Vikings at one time wanted to keep Iceland for themselves and throw everyone off as far as where the Vikings were like hiding out during the, the Denmark and the Nova Scotia, and not Nova Scotia, but the whole Scandinavian thing over there. So they took the worst continent, or the worst country, I guess you would say at the time, and it was all full of ice. And they called it Greenland. Oh, let's all go to Greenland. It's a big friggin', it's huge. It's bigger than Alaska. It's just a big ice palace is all it is. Like Superman lives there, I think. And then Iceland is lush and green, and it has, fertile soil and all the stuff. So when you're looking at a map, hey, I want to go to Greenland, and the expeditions go to Greenland, they're like going, fuck it, it's cold here. Ha ha ha, we're in Iceland. That's how those two came to be. I could be wrong, but 9 times out of 10, I'm almost right. So Denmark owns Greenland. So Trump says, look, you're not doing anything with this solid thing. He's trying to do that whole Alaska trade. Whoever that owned, I forget who. Listen to me, my history. I forget who owned Alaska, but we traded them like $24,000 and like a bag of hoagie rolls or something like that. And we got Alaska. Why do we buy in Alaska? Because there's only 32 miles or 132 miles from our neighboring border, Russia over there. We want a little bit more access to them. Same thing with Greenland. Now, we're not in war with anyone in the Scandinavian area, but we'd like to milk it for its resources. So Trump made this whole thing about we're going to buy Greenland. And I'm going to switch over to camera 4. And this is actually, you don't want to see that. This is what actually the parliament, the Danish European Parliament, said about Trump wanting to buy Greenland. So here we go. Okay, enough with the music. Let's play his actual things here. I got to get through all this. Come on. What did he actually say? I don't want to fast forward because I'll skip it. Here we go.
President Trump.
Dear President Trump.
Listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years.
800.
It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, off.
Fuck off.
If the translation was correct.
And this is the Vice President of the European Parliament, Nicolae Stefanutia, is like, hey.
Right. The term you used is not allowed in this house.
You can't say those words here.
There will be consequences to
Yes.
the message you have used. It is not okay in this house of democracy. Thank you. Regardless of what we think of Mr. Trump, it is not possible to use such language.
Yes. So mind your P's and Q's there. But what's happening right now is that there's this tongue-in-cheek joke petition that's 100% real. And the petition is a joke, but it's a real joke petition that's getting a lot of traction on the internet. Denmark would buy California from Trump in a joke petition. We're pretty sure that he's willing to part with it for the right price. An online petitioner circulating around the website on Denmarkification jokes. So that's the website. A not so serious plan for Denmark to take California off the hands of the United States is gaining more than some pretty serious traction online. The tongue-in-cheek campaign claims to be 100% real in our dreams about President Donald Trump and his allies have made it abundantly clear that the interests of purchasing Greenland is definitely not a joke. Ever since Trump took over office in January for his second term, the president has ramped up his rhetoric on the U.S. taking over the Arctic island, which is somewhat a Danish territory, for a potentially with military force. Now, an online petition made up by a self-described lifelong progressive campaigner and activist is circulating around the website Denmarkification, hitting back to Trump's proposal. So have you ever looked on the map and thought, what Denmark needs? More sunshine and palm trees and roller skates, the petition says. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make the dream a reality. Let's buy California from Donald Trump. The petition even makes a case about the right price. Donald Trump will be more than willing to part with the blue state, which is overwhelmingly overwhelmingly backed his opponent, Kamala Harris. Plus, she's from there. She, not lives from there. She's from, I don't know where she's from, but she was the DA, district attorney, and all that other stuff in the 2024 presidential campaign. We're pretty sure that he will part with it for the right price, the petition says. So hear me out here. Let's go back to me now. Hear me out. Who's to say, you ready? Who's to say we can't sell California off to somebody? You know how many times it's come up for Texas to leave the Union, the United States? Do you know how many times Puerto Rico has come up for statesmanship? And, it's always like 51 no and 49 yes. Do you know how many times all of our other provinces and stuff have come up that they want to be a U.S. state? We haven't shook up the world in a long time on our end. Now, you look at Russia. Russia's doing that right now, but they're doing it by force. That's what they're trying to do. That's what the whole thing in oh God, where's it at? I'm going to do this really, really bad. Not Afghanistan. Who is Russia in war with? According to Wikipedia. Ukraine. Sorry. Thank you. I just came off with the top of my head. That's why they're fighting with the Ukraine. They're trying to take back that piece of property, which was, given away, and they were on their democracy, and they were working on the United Nations, and Russia says, you know what? No, we changed our mind. We want that back now. And that's what they're doing. That's what the whole Ukraine battle is. They're trying to recapture what was not lawfully theirs. They gave it up, and now they're trying to no backsies. No backsies. And so what if we did that? I mean, that would be one phenomenal. And the word phenomenal is good or bad. If Trump says, you know what, California, you can go away. We'll sell California off. What about all the Hollywood stars and stuff? Well, they can move with what's his name, Medea, over in Georgia. They can start doing movies in Georgia. What about the Silicon Valley and all the tech industry and stuff? Fine, they can go to Utah. There's nothing in Utah. God knows Utah will take them. What about all the resources and stuff? Okay, so we sell it off to Denmark. We sell California off to Denmark with a rider on it. We get 50% off everything that comes out of California. It's kind of like a little deal there. But do you think the United States would be upset about that if they... I think it would shake everyone up. I think, no, there's no way he'd sell California. Oh, my God, he sold California off. Hey, everyone, all the other states are like going, shape up. Pay attention. We don't want to be next. We don't want to be kicked out of here. Let's get our grade scores up. Let's, he dismantled the federal education system and turning it into the states. States are going to be like, hey, man, we need to bring our scores up or he's going to ditch us too. And Trump's just, I'm selling you off, I sell you off, and I'll buy that. And, it's like a monopoly at the end of the game where no one's got any money, and they're just doing that last little bit of trading, like, I'll give you B&O and Reading Rail Line for Baltic Avenue. You're doing this whole monopoly trading and stuff. So who's to say? I mean, it's a game out there. But if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Trump because he doesn't care. I mean, he cares to a certain point, but he's got no obligation not to sell it. And this woman right here, last but not least, everyone in California trying to be healthier, trying to be hip hop shape and all that. There's something called ego lifting. Now, if you don't know what ego lifting is, this woman in California snaps her whole entire skeleton in half by taking part of this new dangerous trend on TikTok. Of course, TikTok. A personal trainer snapped her hip bone in half after doing ego lifting in the gym. This is now a warning to all the others who will partake in this viral fitness trend, has left her in the hospital. Christina Schmidt began incorporating barbell hip thrusts into her gym routine to attempt to grow her glutes after seeing some of her favorite fitness influencers rave about the exercise and what it did for them. But after working all the way up to her personal best of 309 pounds, Jesus Christ, on March 23rd, the 24-year-old developed agonizing pain in her right hip and felt like someone was tearing her leg off. So the pain became so bad she reportedly left crying with every single step. Then she found herself unable to walk. Schmidt visited the doctor and discovered that she had broken her hip bone due to the stressful fractures by lifting too much weight with the incorrect form over long periods of time. She was doing too much and wasn't doing it right and was doing it unright and unwrong for too many times. That PR when hold on, give me one sec. That PR she went for ended up being the PR. What was the PR? I don't know what that means. Ended up being the final snap to her right hip bone altogether. The pain wasn't over. The break reportedly became infected by blood poisoning and then bacteria. Surgery was required to clean out the wound, and Schmidt was prescribed a 3-month course of antibiotics after the fact. So the most I could possibly lift, she says, was 310 pounds for 8 repetitions. I would usually do 2 sets, but after that, it was horrible. But after 2 sets but that was with horrible form and not properly engaging my glutes. Okay, so that's her problem. She didn't engage her glutes. If I'd been able to lift upwards properly, then it would have been impressive. But I was just swinging it up. In January, I was only lifting 245 to 265 pounds. And then by March, I was already up to 310 pounds, which in hindsight was probably way too fast and was way too much. So I guess, does it show what she was saying? How does it work? It shows her. I'm going to switch over to camera. What camera am I on? So I'm going to switch over to camera 4. So it looks like she's sitting on the ground, okay? She's sitting on the ground, and she's got a barbell across her crotch area. Like if it's sitting, on her hip bones across her hip. And she's got, 300 some odd pounds. And her back's up against a piece of, it looks like a bench, like a regular workbench. So she's sitting there with back support. And it looks like she's, if you're watching this on camera, kind of lifting her butt up in the air and then back down. And lifting her butt up in the air and then back down. And lifting her butt up in the air and back down. I know this looks really, really good. Make sure you get the full effect there. She's lifting her butt up and then back down. And then butt up and then back down. And in the process of doing that and doing it wrong, she snapped her hips and broke herself in half. She broke herself in half doing the ego, what do I call it? Ego lift? Yeah, ego lifting. So ladies, put it down. You don't need to do all that heavy lifting, but that's what the influencers are. You get influencers in trouble out there. They want to do, they want to get the poppy soda. They want to do all that other stuff, and they're hurting people in the same sense. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow us over on TikTok. That's Be Podcast Famous. We'd love to hear from you. Go over to profitradio.com. You can leave a message for us over there. Also, follow us on Facebook. No, not Facebook. Sorry. Make sure you follow us over on YouTube. Search DeaconLive Podcasts. Give us a like and subscribe over there as well. And if you'd like to email me with anything as well, you can email me pictures and stuff. If you've broken your hip doing the ego lift or anything like that, you can email me at any time at deacon@profitradio.com. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is the Deacon, saying good night and good night.
Wait, come back. This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.
What? Oh, that feels good, though. I do that in a chair. I wouldn't do it with 900 pounds on me, though. What are you doing? Nothing. Nothing, honey. Nothing. Go get your ID. All right. See you later, guys. Bye.